What's up, guys? Welcome back. So after posting my video showing how to tear apart the entire dash on our 2022 Tundras, I've had a few requests already on how to remove door panels for whatever reason, whether you want to wire, you need to get in there for wiring, or some people have mentioned they have a rattle underneath the door panel that they want to get to and see what's causing it. I'm going to show you how to get this done. It is a very, very easy job. Anybody can do it. We'll remove the door panel on the front driver's side door, and then we'll do a rear door as well, just to give you an idea on how to do both. But again, very simple. Let's jump right into it. So pretty much all you're going to need to get this entire job done is plastic pry tool, Phillips head screwdriver, and needle nose pliers will just make your life easier. You don't necessarily need them. To start, all we're going to do is we want to pop up the switch panel right here. Plastic is your friend. Don't use anything different or you might mar up the surfaces, but you can get it up underneath the edge there and just pop straight up. Come in the back, again, straight up. You might even have to come in here. Just kind of take your time, working your way around the whole panel, and it'll pop up just like that. Now, where the needle nose comes in handy is just to disconnect your wiring harnesses. You could easily do it with your fingers. Pliers just make it easier. So just go ahead and disconnect your wiring harnesses from underneath here, and we'll set this panel aside. Once you have that removed, there's a little panel right here behind your door handle. Pull your handle out and get your plastic pry tool. You'll see there's a crease right there, and just get it behind there and pop it out. It just looks like this. It's only held in by clips. Then come down here and remove the little mat that's in there. Now we have the Tough Skins one. So just go ahead and take that little mat out of there, and that's going to give you access to a Phillips head screw. So there's actually 3 screws you're going to need to remove. One back in here behind that panel, one down in your door handle area where we just removed that Tough Skins piece, and then there's another one that you can access right down in here once you remove that switch panel. So go ahead and take those 3 Phillips head screws out of the truck. Then you want to come to the front of the panel, and this little pop clip right here, what you want to do is, you can see how there's like a smaller inner circle. Take something, push in on that middle section, the small circle, and that's actually going to release the clip. You can then get your nail behind it, or I don't even have nails in it. You can see how easily it pops out. Just set that aside. We'll need that to reinstall the panel. All right, so then we're going to remove this little triangular piece right here, just held in by clips. So I use the plastic pry tool just to pop it loose, but you can take it off and you can see it's just held in by those 2 white clips there and a red clip there. That's all. Now once that's out of the way, the door is basically free to be popped off the truck. So I'll show you what we have to do there. So much easier to do this before you try to remove the panel. In order to disconnect, just get your plastic pry tool in the front, pop it loose. You'll see there's a little clip that holds it in there. And then you can just disconnect the wiring harness right here. Trust me, this will make your life easier by doing this. Before you try to take the door panel off, disconnect it here. So take your hands and feel down in here. You'll feel a gap between the panel and the truck door. That's just a good place to grab it. You're simply just gonna get your hands up underneath there and give it a pop. Don't worry, you're not breaking anything. It's just held in by clips all the way around. And then once you have all of those clips behind there undone, you're just going to lift it up off the truck like so. And then I'll give you a look. We'll come back around the other side of the door. I'll give you a look at, there's a couple cables you have to disconnect back here. So here's the 2 cables I'm talking about. One is for the door handle and one is for the lock. Very easy. Just remember, white's on top, green's on bottom. So you basically we'll do the white first. You're just going to pop the white out of the little clip. And then there's a little ball. I'm not sure if you'll see it, but there's a little ball that holds it in place right there. You basically just line it up with the hole and it'll pop right out of there just like so. Do the same process for the green. And then the only other thing we have to disconnect, you may or may not have this depending on your trim, but I do have to disconnect a wiring harness down in here that's for the memory, the seat memory. And then at the bottom of the door panel, there's also a wiring harness for the light that comes on when you open your door. So go ahead and make those 2, disconnect those 2 areas, and the panel will be free from the truck. Here's a look at the inside of the door panel. You can see everything you have access to. If you ever wanted to run wiring for any reason, if you remove that speaker that's only held in by a couple bolts, disconnect the wiring, you'd be able to run wiring from the door up through, hopefully you can see it, there's a boot right there that would give you access into the cab. So that's what you have access to there. And if you come over here onto the panel itself, if you wanted to, let's say you wanted to wrap this piece or whatever, if you look at the back, we'll flip it around here real quick. Bear with me 1 second. There we go. You can see back here, up here is the door handle if you ever wanted to remove that for any reason. Down in here, you can see if you take those screws out, you'll be able, basically this is how you would remove any of the panels. And there's a couple plastic welds that you may have to remove as well. But that's what the rear or the inside of the panel itself looks like, and everything that you have access to. All right, so when you go to put the door back on, it's very simple to do. You're just going to reverse your steps, but I wanted to show you one thing that I noticed. This piece right here, this actually, when you go to lift the panel up off the truck, this piece may or may not come with it. If it stays on the truck, if it comes off, you can see the edge right there, and you're just going to take it and line it up, get it in its spot, and push it back down in its place. Okay, the reason that matters, whether or not that piece comes up with the panel, if it stays on the truck like it did for me this time, when you come over to the panel to reinstall it, you can see these areas 1, 2, and 3. So when you go to put this panel back on the door, instead of lifting it up and over the ledge, I'll show you, I'll video it when I put it back on. You're simply just gonna push the door straight back on. Obviously you have to reconnect your pieces first. And let me just record it and I'll show you what I mean. But I wanted to point that out because that piece may or may not come off the door panel with the rest of the panel. So here's what I mean. Maybe it'll be easier if I just show you. That piece is on the door, okay? So instead of, when you go to reinstall it, instead of trying to lift it up and over the lip of the door, those 3 spots that I just showed you. Now I've already reconnected my 2 cables for the door lock and the door handle. I reconnected my seat memory. Now we're ready to reconnect it. So instead of going up and over, you're just gonna line it up and push straight forward, okay? And you'll actually hear and feel those 3 clips grab onto the piece that's on the truck. All right, so it's very simple. I just wanted to point that out because that piece may or may not come off with the rest of the panel. So once you have the top piece pushed into place like that, you're just simply gonna work your way around the panel, getting all the pop clips pushed back in to place. You'll feel and hear them. You'll hear a little click. And then we're just gonna reverse our steps. I'm not gonna show it all. You're just gonna put those, the 3 screws back, make your, reconnect your wiring harnesses, and put your panels back on. All right, so let's go to the back door and I'll show you how to remove that. One thing I did want to mention when you're reinstalling the door, that little clip that you take out of the front, make sure you have that middle section pushed forward, as you can see there, and then put it in, and then push the middle section in. Okay, and I'm sure you just heard that clip into place, so don't try to do it. I know, to get it out, you have to push that middle section in. When you go to put it back in, make sure it's pulled out first, and it'll go in easier and how it should. All right, so the rear door we're gonna do relatively quickly because honestly, it's more of the same. So all you're gonna do is take out your little mat that's down in there. You're gonna pop this up with your plastic pry tool, just like you did in the front. And then you're gonna remove the wiring harness off the back, set that aside. You're going to remove that panel that's in there behind the door handle, set that aside. You're also gonna, there's 2 of those pop clips that I showed you where you have to push in the middle to pop them loose. There's one here and then one up the top. So go ahead and remove those 2. And then we're just simply going to the 3 screws, same areas that we did on the front door. So one in there, one right there, and one down in there. Go ahead and remove those 3 screws. Once you have all that done, this panel up here just pops right off the truck. Only held in by clips that you can see on the back there. Then the same idea as in the front. Get your hands up underneath, pop it loose. Now on the rear doors, the only other wiring harness that you're gonna have to undo is behind your speaker right here, the little speaker, not the big one at the bottom. And then of course your two cables, the one for the door lock and the door handle, same thing as the front. Again, I'm not gonna show it on camera because it'll be a waste of time, but you're basically just gonna pull it out, pop it loose, and then again, just reach back here and undo your wiring harness for your little speaker up here at the top. Once you have the speaker unclipped and the two cables, you can then remove the entire panel like so. All right, guys, there you have it. That's how you remove the door panels on our 2022 Tundras. In order to replace the rear, it's the same as the front. You're just gonna line up the tabs, push it straight on to this piece up here at the top. Obviously reconnect everything, the cables for the handles and all that good stuff, your speaker wire, and there is no light on the rear doors that you have to worry about. So it's even easier than the front. Any questions, put them down below. We'll get them addressed for you. This is very easy to do. As you saw, anybody can do it. If you need to get behind these panels for any reason at all, please feel free to give the video a thumbs up. It does help the channel grow, and I appreciate all the support. Questions, put them down below. We'll get them addressed. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.